What's taking so long with this waiver? Another name that could possibly end up with 2311. And that fourth charter. What are the possibilities?
Three, two, one.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. Got a few things I want to cover here today. Interesting subjects. Obviously, all week, everybody's been talking about the same things. Stewart Haas charter sales, who's going to get what, who goes where. And the other big topic has been Kyle Larson and the waiver. Been talked about in so many different ways this week that it's almost gotten to the point that it's exhausting. But I'm going to talk about something to do with that. Also, I got to talk about a driver who a possibility that's come into my mind with some situations that, well, we'll talk about it here in just a moment. And also, the topic, the conversation of Dale Jr. with a charter. So many people saying he's done, he's not going to get one. Other people saying, well, there's certain things that could happen still. So we're going to cover all that. But let's start out right now with this charter. And the big question on everybody's mind is, what is taking so long? What is taking so long to make this happen? And you got to look at the history, the past of everything who's got, or people who have got charters in the past and the way it's happened. And the big thing that's being kind of communicated about right now is that last year with Chase Elliott, Chase obviously getting two of the waivers last year, the first time for his broken leg with his snowboard accident. And then again, following the race at Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600, which was on a Monday last year, due to the rain again. But by Thursday, everything was cleared. He was good to go. Even though he wasn't racing that weekend, before he was even getting in the car again, everything was cleared. Everything was okay. And then you go back and you look at some of the other ones. Alex Bowman, same way. Alex getting injured in the sprint car and have to take a little time off. And NASCAR come out and said they had already okayed it. Everything was good. Everything was going to be good with this as far as him getting back in the car. They just waited to announce it because they weren't sure how long he was going to be out of the car. So that was, again, a situation where it was known. Everything was good. And then you go to the person who got the first waiver, Kyle Busch. This right here, another situation where everything was taken care of for him to return at Charlotte. And this is the interesting thing with me for this right here, too, because Alex Bowman, when he returned, was at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coca-Cola 600. Kyle Busch, when he returned, was at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the All-Star race. And then Chase Elliott, after the Coca-Cola 600, gets suspended and has to miss a race. So Charlotte, right in the hub of a lot of this action to deal with waivers here in the past. But then you got to look at Kyle's brother, Kurt. He also had got two waivers in the past. The first one was for his suspension in 2015 for an assault charge that was later thrown out. All a bunch of BS with that right there. But he got that one. And then again in 2022, after his concussion, was able to get his waiver really easily, which he withdrew on, obviously, because he wasn't able to get back in the car. But this brings the question, what's taking so long? And everybody's been asking the same question. Me personally, I think this was kind of a situation that was already handled. Everybody knew what was going on. Everybody knew he was going to Indy. Everybody knew there was a possibility something like this would happen. And NASCAR banked off this. NASCAR benefited off this. Everybody involved in this situation did good off of this scenario. It would have been better for Kyle to be able to get out there and finish the race at Charlotte or run the whole race. But either way, everybody benefited in so many ways, except for Kyle Larson, who was not able to get any bonus points or the chance to win or anything like that. So I think it's just a matter of time. I think they're playing this right now, something to keep it in the news, keep it in front of people, and keep people talking. So kind of a good move by NASCAR and Hendrick if they already know what's going on as well. But anyways, hopefully by the time I put this out, we got an answer. So who knows, but we'll see. Now, I want to talk about something else right here. Again, this is something that was brought to my attention by different people. And this is Riley Herbst. Different people have talked so much about who's getting the charter, who's getting in these cars and everything else. And Riley Herbst's name has been mentioned about certain things, but not really as a favorite in so many ways by a majority to land a ride in the Cup Series in 2025. And the thing that just kind of started pointing me in a direction of looking into some things right here is his sponsor, Monster Energy. And this is for very good reasons because Monster Energy has been involved with the Herbst family for a long time. Riley Herbst's dad, Troy, is a 7-time off-road champion, has had a long foundation and union with Monster Energy. And this family is a very wealthy family out of the West. Everybody knows this. Most of the families that come out of Las Vegas, as far as drivers, are very wealthy families, multi-businesses, and Herbst family is no different. They own Herbst Development and also Terrible Herbst Oil Company, and they have over 120 different service stations across the Southwest, and probably beyond that, to be honest with you. But and they have a huge travel plaza that is called Terrible's Roadhouse. Sounds like a kick-ass place to go to, but they actually have a Monster Energy lounge inside of there. So Monster Energy and Herbst family have a big connection because this has went back for years in racing, and outside of that, with the distribution through all these stores and everything else like that. So it's a win-win situation for the family and for Monster Energy to be associated like this. And now when you take a look at 2311, what's the history of 2311 and Monster Energy? It's been strong. Kurt Busch coming in there, putting that sponsorship on the side of the car, still on the side of the car with Tyler Reddick this year. And everybody knows right now, sponsorship money is the biggest influence as who gets rides these days. And the other thing, Monster Energy has stuck with its drivers, sticks with them up through from every level that they're in. When they're running ARCA, they're on the side of the car. If they're off-road trucks, they're on the side of the car. Xfinity, they're on there. Truck, they're on there. They stick with their people for the most part. And obviously with this connection, probably a little bit of a push to get Riley Herbst up there to the Cup Series, especially right now when seats are open. So, could be a long shot, but it's interesting. Interesting to see if this would be a possibility to go to 2311. But the other interesting thing is, this does happen this way. It could be in one of them front row cars because you bring that sponsorship money and throw a little bit more on top of that right there. That's always attractive to any owner. So, again, this is going to be something really cool to follow, see what happens. Everybody's got speculation right now, and really that's all it is speculation. But it's fun to speculate some wild scenarios like this. Now, speaking of speculation, we'll finish this off right here. Again, everybody, the topic, who's going to get this fourth charter? Everybody is, myself included, for months, I've said this right here, that it would be Front Row Trackhouse and 2311 getting a charter. The question's always been that last one. And man, there are some wild rumors out there. I've heard Noah Gragson in the 3 with Richard Childress racing. So many things out there. But the question has been so much, too, about Dale Jr. Obviously, this will be a great time for him to get one of these because the price obviously seems like it's going to be down lower. And that's been one of his standoffish points with this right here. He didn't want to pull the trigger on it because of the prices. He would need investors. Discussed possibly teaming up with somebody else. That's opened up other doors. I've heard people say, well, him and Tony Stewart are going to team up with one of these charters and start Dale Earnhardt Incorporated again. Hell, it could happen. I don't know. But here's something that's really interesting to me because I'm looking at this proposed deal to a 3 charter limit. And if you go back to the past when this happened before in 2005, this happened to Jack Roush, who had 5 teams at that time. He had to reduce down to 4 teams. And he was given the same deal that this proposed deal is right now, that he would be grandfathered in, but for a limited amount of time. And that's what the scenario looks like right here for Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports, is they would be grandfathered in. But there hasn't been any stipulations with this. But in all fairness, and following the past, it kind of seemed like they will have to downsize to a 3-team limit. The interesting thing with this was in 2005, Jack Roush was given until 2009 to downsize the teams. That was obviously because they had sponsorship obligations. People had money invested in those cars, and they couldn't just step away and tell them, here's your money back, I'm out the way, and everything else. So, but this leads me to wonder, like right now, could this be Junior's thinking plan? Could this be the process right now that if these teams are called to reduce down to a 3 limit charter, Dale Jr. standing right there to collect one of these charters from Rick Hendrick, which would probably be at a Nice price, not what the asking price is out for everybody else. And Junior would have his own team. And in essence, Hendrick Motorsports could still be that 4-car team as it was in the past. I see both of these teams, if this does happen, doing the same thing. Joe Gibbs Racing, I can see the same scenario there. And that could be the possibility with Legacy. Legacy, this goes down there, could get that other charter from Joe Gibbs Racing and turn that into a 3-team charter situation. So, man, there's just so much speculation, so much interesting stories out there. The waiver, Stuart Haas closing down. It's exhausting in so many ways, but it's so interesting as well. I'm just glad we're back to the weekend and some racing and have some new things to talk about. But anyways, what do you think about these ideas? Anything click in there that sounds like it could be a possibility to you, or am I just way off track with your thought process? But anyways, if you like what I'm doing, give that button down there a big old subscribe and communicate with me. Throw them comments down there. I love to talk racing, and believe me, I go through everybody's comments and try to respond to everything I can and want to continue doing that. So let's keep this going back and forth. And, man, above all, hope you're having a great day out there. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.